guys, I'm Sarah Bendrick, licensed landscape contractor. If you're looking to redo your landscape this spring but are on a budget, here are a few ideas and tips that might help you stay on budget that will add some character to your yard. So I have my hosta here. When digging it out, I try to get as many of the roots as I can. As you can see, their roots divide a lot at the tip, so I want to keep as many of the tip of the roots as I can. The best time to split hostas is actually in the early summer and the early fall. And the reason you want to do that, and with a lot of plants, is it gives it enough time to get settled before the summer heat, or if you do it too far into the fall, it might get too cold before they can really establish their roots. So early spring and early fall are the best times to transplant most plants. To divide this, I'm going to use this garden knife and the serrated edge. This one I'm going to divide into two because it's a little bit smaller, but technically you can divide it into as many as you want as long as you get enough roots. When I dug this out of the soil, I tried to get as much root as I could, especially the tips of the roots. That's where hostas really like to expand their roots. So I'm going to use the garden knife to divide this in half, just literally cutting through it. I'm going to try and preserve as many roots as I can as I'm working through. Sometimes you can actually just divide them by hand if they're not too intertwined. The front entrance is probably one of the most important parts of the landscape in my opinion. And this one is a little lackluster. So when doing the site inventory of the property, I thought this would be a great opportunity to do an affordable DIY bench, as well as freshen it up with some mulch, some new plants. And the first thing I want to start with is the bench. The first thing I want to do is to paint the cinder blocks, and I'm going to use a color that's going to complement the house. So now I want to cut my 4x4s down to 6 feet. I'm going to use the chainsaw to do it and make sure to secure the wood so it doesn't move. I also decided to paint my lumber to protect it. So I brought in some compost from the garden, and this is so good for the plants in the soil. It will make it so much easier for this plant to grow in. I'm just gonna mix a little bit in with the native soil as I plant my hosta, and that's gonna give it a great new start. You can buy compost or you can make it yourself, which you probably should because you have a lot of food scraps anyways. A few things to consider when transplanting a plant. You want to make sure that the new roots are not smashed. You want to spread them out. So I dig the hole extra wide because I want really nice fluffy soil around the plant. I mean, this plant just had a lot of trauma, so I want it to have a nice, easy place to regrow its roots. And then when placing your plant, don't plant it too deep. You want to make sure that the top of the roots are at the top of the soil and not any lower. So you want to make sure you water it. The next few weeks after transplanting, you want to keep an extra eye because they need to regrow their roots, so they might be a little more fragile than normal. So these are the two most common types of shovel. We have the spade and we have the square shovel. Oftentimes people hand me this to dig holes. I'll be like, no way, because it's so hard to dig a hole with a square shovel. This is a transfer shovel. This is what you want to use to move mulch around, to move rocks around. This is what you want to use for digging. It makes it so much easier when you dig with a shovel that has a point. And it's always a good idea to mix your soil amendments with your native soil, because if you don't do this and you just put all brand new soil or all amendments in this area, the plant is either just going to grow in this area and never want to migrate into the tougher soil, the native stuff. So you want to give it a little bit of mixture to get it acclimated, because you want the roots to go out like this. So in spacing the plant, you want to consider how big it's going to get eventually. I expect this to get 2 to 3 feet, so I'm moving it far enough away from the edge so when it does fill out, it's not into the lawn. The last thing I want to do is even out the soil around the root base, and then I want to spread the rest of the dirt around to make it even, or just get rid of it because I don't want to have a lumpy patio. Super cute. These were so affordable and easy to do and adds a lot of charm to this space. I also topped off this area with a fresh layer of mulch. Some people like to put landscape fabric down. If it's a patio, I usually do, and that helps keep down weeds. But typically I don't put landscape fabric in my gardens because I want the wood chips to decompose and add nutrients. Anyways, done with this break, I have a few more finishing touches here. Didn't it turn out great? I really hope some of these landscape ideas inspire you to work on your landscape this spring. For more tips, check out A Neighborhood Ace.